Welcome to this edition of the Tiger Men's Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Spiro Marikas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Sean Nadlin. And Coach, Tigers last week traveled down to the capital of Virginia to take on the Spiders of the University of Richmond. Tight game throughout, but unfortunately the Spiders able to get a little breathing room at the end and win the ball game 10-7. Going in, your thoughts of Richmond, did they change at all after the game, or were they exactly what you expected to see on Friday?
Pretty much accurate to what we expected to see. With them playing 2 games before us, seeing the film, there weren't really any surprises with their personnel, what their personnel could do, systems that they were running, anything like that. So definitely, there were no surprises from our end.
Early on, it was a tight game. I believe it was tied at halftime, right? 4-4. You were down 5-4. You gave up a late goal in the second quarter, 5-4. What did you tell the team at halftime? What kind of adjustments were you looking to make in the second half?
We really needed to play cleaner through the middle of the field, face-off wing play, and clearing the ball. If you've seen the game, that wasn't we didn't pay attention to that very well. Continued to be an issue for us. So we wanted to be smarter there. We weren't. We wanted to be, we wanted to shoot better, which we didn't as well. Defensively, I thought we were okay. Our guys were doing a decent job. A couple, definitely like to have 2 or 3 back, just where guys fell asleep on the crease. Didn't do a good job there. Inside play, but we just didn't play a smart, clean game. It didn't need to be perfect. It just needed to be, good enough to win, and we didn't do that.
You had to make a change at goalie. Talk about that a little bit.
Yep. Evan Long wasn't able to make the trip, so we knew that going down. So Luke Downs, who played for us last year, earned his way into kind of more the second, the next man up role. Got in there, and I think did a
stats look good.
Pretty good job. Yeah, did a pretty good job. Kept a few goals on the doorstep off the board. They put a couple really nice shots on him, so he did well. He got a little excited after one of his early saves, got it up out and quick over the head, and led to a turnover right back at us. But that's just the excitement in him.
And we also saw the debut of Mikey Weissauer from Archbishop Spall, the highly touted recruit. How do you assess his performance in his first game?
Solid. I mean, he got out there, got a couple nice runs for us. Had a great look on the crease. Probably a couple too many fakes. Hit it off the pipe where he was right on the doorstep. So I know he'd like to have that one back. Had a nice take out of the box coming downhill. So just again, getting his feet underneath him, getting into Division I action. I'm excited to see where that takes him.
Now you've played 3 games. You have a lot of veterans coming back, but you've got new guys that you're mixing in. How much are you still experimenting to try to come up with right combinations, or are you past that point and this is what we've got to do and this is who's going to do it?
Offensively, we're still experimenting, as you put it, just kind of making sure, like I said, the right combination of guys on midfields, attack, same thing. Defensively, we're pretty sound, especially at the close position. Those guys need to continue to be a bigger presence in our defense overall, helping the D middies, helping the long sticks. Through the D midfield and long stick, there could be some guys, kind of get more playing time or less playing time, depending on really anybody. But again, we're always evaluating, always seeing how things pan out in games and practice, see who's performing well. And if you perform well in practice, you're going to earn time on the field. And, that's obviously how we continue to evaluate.
All right, busy week ahead. Wednesday, Loyola. Greyhounds pulled the shocker of the early lacrosse season when they defeated Maryland, then beat your alma mater, Hopkins, lost this past weekend to Rutgers. They have not been successful at all on face-offs, winning only about 30%, I believe. But they're not giving up a lot of goals. I mean, they held Maryland and Hopkins to single digits, and Rutgers scored 10. Kind of reminiscent of your team that beat Denver that year out there in the NCAA tournament, where you were not getting a lot of face-off wins but still played great defensively. Do you see a similarity there at all?
I wouldn't say it's similar between the two teams in that regard. They are, they have a strong goalie. That's a big help when you're not winning faceoffs to make those stops. Defensively, they're big and imposing, so they do a good job collectively as a defense for sure. And offensively, they got talented middies, so they do a good job capitalizing on possessions when they have it. Watching the Maryland Loyola game, I don't think Maryland, played their best game. I'm sure Logan McEnany, Maryland's goalie at the time, probably like to have a few shots back, but credit to Loyola, being in attack mode, generating offense and getting some, goals on the board and then earning that win. They played well. They played well against Rutgers too. Rutgers made a big run in the third quarter to take a game that was tied at halftime, and I think it gave Rutgers a 5-goal lead after 3 quarters. So that was a lot for Loyola to come back on.
What do you see from them on the defensive end? You say they're big.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Yeah, big. Long. Big guys. They got a lot of length with their sticks, so they're able to get into your gloves, even though they're not stretched out away from the cage too far, so they can stay tighter but still have contact. Their D middies are really I don't want to say aggressive, but just physically capable of staying with you and being strong on ball. They've done a good job, probably looking to help more than they have in the past as far as slides. Typically, Loyola is a team that doesn't want to slide too much. They want to kind of show but not really go. This team looks like they're more willing to support and help, which might be a little bit of an evolution of who they are and what they're doing, and they have a lot of faith in their goalie. Their goalie's playing well.
All right, and then Saturday you take on UMBC at UMBC. Always a great game to play with the local rivalries. It's been 1 or 2 years since the two teams met.
I remember. We
been a
played
couple
them
years.
last year. I think we played them.
Did we play them last year?
Yeah.
Everything gets mixed up with the
right there with you.
with the COVID years. But what do you expect to see from the Retrievers?
Always a well-coached team. Coach Moran does a great job with those guys. Haven't been able to watch them yet, as we're still kind of gearing up for Loyola. But watching their earlier games, they've beaten Drexel. They won this past weekend. So again, it's a team that's looks like they're very capable. Always like I said, a well-coached, balanced team that does a good job maintaining possession and being sound on the defensive end.
Early results, anything in the conference surprise you so far by how anyone's playing?
No. Looking at the teams, teams are getting wins, teams are getting losses, so it's kind of February lacrosse for everybody at this point.
But you're done with February lacrosse.
We will be on Wednesday night.
I mean, that's March.
Exactly.
So you're done. Your February's over.
You ready for spring?
Oh boy.
Get you outside of the booth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So that'll do it for this edition of the Tiger Men's Lacrosse Report. Glenn Smith and I will have the call for you Wednesday night at 6 o'clock and then Saturday afternoon out in Catonsville. So for the head coach of the Tigers, Sean Nadlin, I'm Spiro Marikas. Thanks for tuning in.